quick. Oh, that's not what. There we go. A lab just like yesterday. You'll notice that the directions are almost exactly the same. So use graphical analysis, get your force probe and hook and force box. They're all on the center table. Change your record time to 30 seconds. All right, now you're going to do the same thing on the lab table, but this time you're going to have to look carefully because you're going to look for the static force and then the kinetic force. So the static force is the force produced when it of friction until it moves. So if you look carefully, this one's a little bit more pronounced than what I was seeing on your graphs yesterday. But when you zoom in, so after you get the force, you want to press the little zoom in magnifying glass on the bottom left. And you should see there's a pretty good peak. Now this one isn't very good, so skip a data that looks like that. And you want to try to find one like this, where it has a good kind of first peak there. All right, and you want to put your cursor right on the top of that peak, or you can highlight like I did and get the, well, that shows the mean, but you want to get the top of the peak. That is a static friction. We'll talk more of this whenever, now my youngest is sick. Anyway, you'll get to static friction, so you put that number right there. Then you'll take the average, just like we did yesterday, and get the kinetic friction. That's pretty much all you did yesterday was get the kinetic friction. All right, so after the peak, then you take the average of the stuff afterwards, the main force afterwards, and that's your kinetic. This one, that's your kinetic force. And then repeat with the second trial and the third trial. So it's just like what we did yesterday, except this time you're trying to find that first force. If you don't get through all these today, I want you to at least do 4 of them. All right, but I understand working with a sub isn't as easy as when I'm there. All right, so I'd like you to at least get 4. And then you need to go down here and you just find the difference between those two forces. So you just subtract trial 1 and trial 2. So for example, if I went here and I got, I don't know, what was that, like 4, oh, I put it there, 4.8. And then the 3.29. So I go 4.8, 3.3. So then I would subtract them and get 1.5. But of course I would take the difference between the averages, not necessarily there. And do that again for at least 4. Now measure the mass of the box. There's scales in my room. See if you can find it. If not, just make the box, I don't know, 100 grams, just to make it easy. It's not really all that important. And then that will tell you the weight. Find the weight of the box. Remember, F of G is the weight, force of gravity, which equals mass times gravity. And then use that weight to find those coefficients of friction. Remember, that's that weird mu thing. So I'm just going to not find the mu. Equals force due to friction divided by your force due to normal. So whatever your force due to friction was up here for the lab table, you'll take that static friction and you're going to divide it by your force due to normal, which would be this number. Remember, because the force due to normal is about the force due to gravity. And then over here, you do the same thing. Oh, I put them in the wrong one. So this should be, so be careful. This is for the kinetic and then static. So this is the moving one. That's the stationary one. If you get them vice versa, that's fine. Just cross that. But anyway, you do the same thing over here. It's just that you use the force due to friction for that coefficient. So you would use the static there. So the static. The other one would be the kinetic. So that's the only difference between those. Your force due to normal would be the same because it's the same box, same weight. And then for the floor, you just do the same thing. M equals force due to friction, whatever that force due to friction is up there, divided by the weight. All right, and just do that again for 4. And then try to answer those questions. So that's the lab for today. And then put everything back on the center table for me.